All right, can everybody hear me? Looks like you guys are already arguing in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Great to see you guys. Welcome, Carla, Lisa, Ray. Good morning. Yes, Martin Luther King Day. Yep, my daughter actually is going to school today. It's a make-up snow day today. Aw, that's nice. Well, welcome you guys. This is DES244 Package Design, Week 1 Live Lecture 1. I'm glad to see all of you in here, and hopefully you follow the lecture schedule. I'm sorry it's so kind of it's not on the same day every week, but I kind of had to work my schedule around a lot of different things going on. So I appreciate you guys being flexible. All right, well, my name is April Biss. You can call me April, that's fine. Just a little bit about me, you guys, if you've never had me before. I've actually taught for independence for over 6 years now. I'm also a practicing working graphic designer for over 20 years. And I have 6+ years working in higher education, teaching design classes. I actually got started after I got my master's degree at SCAD. In 2012, I actually got a little bit of a taste of what teaching is like when I lived in Tampa, Florida, and before I got my master's actually, and that kind of made me get my master's. After teaching there for 2 years, I taught design classes in Tampa, and I really fell in love with it, and so that kind of pushed me to get my master's. So here I am, and you know, it's just one of those. It's a great thing because I can practice, you know, what I preach and also preach to you guys. Maybe not preach, but we can learn from each other and be inspired by one another. Because, you know, I try to inspire you guys, but I always walk away with you guys inspiring me as well. So it's kind of like a win-win. But I love what I do. I love the fact that I can, you know, kind of balance this out with practicing and teaching. I think that's a great thing. And I have done a lot of package design in my past in different ad agencies I worked for in Pittsburgh, in Ohio. I lived in Ohio for 6 years, worked for a couple ad agencies there. And I worked in a lot of publication places too. And every once in a while you'll get kind of a package design project in certain scenarios, different places, but I actually had a job. It didn't quite last as long as I wanted it to, but Rubbermaid, they got a job at Rubbermaid in Ohio, and it was all package design. And it was kind of crazy to see their system and how they handled all their package design. So it was kind of neat to have that experience as well. But nonetheless, it's kind of interesting. A lot of the ad agencies I worked for, you know, we did have chances to design package design for example, like hair, accessories, you know, different, I think there was a fertilizer brand called Lesco in Ohio that we did their packaging for. So a lot of different client work that we dealt with that I got to see, which is kind of interesting. And it's not always very creative work. You know, sometimes it's redundant, boring packaging, but, you know, nonetheless, it pays the bills. So, but anyway, I'm just a little bit more about me. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. Like I said, I've lived all around Ohio, Florida. I came back to Pittsburgh, don't ask. We just got dumped on here. So, you know, I'm kind of regretting it every day that I moved back from Florida. But anyway, I'm from Pittsburgh. Now I'm living in Pittsburgh. And yeah. Yeah, don't ask for that. But, you know, it's just my family's all here. So I think it's one of the things that pulls you back, right? So anyway, so that's a little bit about me. I am here to help you guys. Don't feel like you're bothering me in any way. I do have 3 sections of this class, so I have a lot of students, and that's great. I'm excited about it. But don't feel, you know, obviously if I'm not getting back to you as soon as possible, I'm going to try my best to get back to you within the 24 hours. I do have a lot of students in here, like I said, so I'm going to try to work a little quicker there. I always like to tell students here too that I've been in your shoes before. And when I say that is when I did my master's, I did it all online. Yeah. So I was a student online. I understand the pros and cons of what you guys go through. And now I'm teaching online. Yep. It's pretty cool. I hope that's a good thing, right? But, you know, I like to say that because I can relate to what you guys are going through, because it is different, especially a design class. You better. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, there's pros and cons about it. I think there's a lot of pros about it that a lot of people kind of overlook too. You know, when I explain to other people, they're like, oh, how does that work? How do you teach design? Well, it's challenging. You're not coming into an actual room with people and pinning up your work to critique it. It's a little different, but it's all in how you guys make the class too. The more engaged you guys are, the more that you'll get out of it. Okay. And I realized that as a student online too. So big time with the discussions, you know, we look at the discussion board. Yeah, well, the discussion boards, I think we get kind of like, yeah, yep. We get kind of, it's like, you know, what are we getting out of this? And believe me, I was there, right there with you as a student. I'm like, oh, these discussions, I'm not going to learn anything. But you know what? They actually, because of how my students and I engaged and collaborated through the discussions, I got so much out of it, more than I thought I was going to at the discussions. So it's all in how you guys, it's, you know, you really have to be very, very self-driven to be a successful online student as well. So great for all of you who are doing this. It takes a lot of self-responsibility, motivation. You know, you're really kind of, it takes a different person to kind of get through some of the online stuff. You know, you guys are dealing with a lot of other factors too. You like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, Heather, I think you touched upon about everybody's going through, everybody's on, you know, has something going on. She said about struggling through like things going on mentally, and you know, everybody has stuff going on. Even I have stuff going on. Yeah. You write novels. Yeah. So, I mean, don't think that you're alone. You know, I think that life is a struggle. You know, life is hard, but we're all here for each other. The quicker that you can reach out to me about what's going on with your situation, the more flexible I can be with you. You know, I'm a mother. You know, I just was recently divorced, not to get too personal, but I have stuff going on. I just recently moved. I go through all the same stuff that you guys go through, hopefully not a divorce, but if so, you know, obviously my divorce was a good thing, but you know, I go through the same stresses that you guys go through, and I understand. And then, you know, if we can just keep communication lines open, I think that's the best way to go about it. Yep. And group chats. Yeah. That's why it's so important. You guys need to keep in touch with each other too. You won't, it's kind of crazy, but when you graduate, it's amazing if you guys keep in touch with each other, alumni, how many possible job openings and just opportunities that you could find out there just by keeping in touch with like alumni. So really make sure that you're doing that. Yep. Good. Yeah, I mean, I can't even say how many countless times it seems like you guys are all know each other, which is great. But I still keep in touch with a lot of my graduate professors. And so it's kind of, you know, any type of opportunities, even design competitions, stuff like that. And it's so much easier nowadays because you can do it on social media, keep in touch and all that good stuff. So, all right. So it's great to have you guys here. There you go. Yeah, you guys can vent to each other too. That's always nice. Yeah, sometimes that could be, but you know, it's part of the whole process, right? All right. All right. So just type in there. I kind of said a little bit about myself. Just type in the chat area, kind of where you're living at right now. I know some of you have had me before, but Carly, you're in Bronx, New York. So did you guys get a lot of snow? Not really. Oh, there's another New Yorker there, Heather. Washington, okay. All right. Long Beach, Mississippi. Oh, you guys are all over the place. That's nice. My parents just drove down to Florida recently to spend the winter. I kind of wanted to hide in their suitcase. Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah, it's windy and cold. It's like 70 degrees outside here, so. Fun stuff, right? Yeah. Trying to, yeah. I tried for 7 years to try to get my family to move down to Florida. I don't know why it was that hard, but apparently it was. Now my parents are going to Florida and leaving me here. At 3 degrees. Yeah, you know, Canada doesn't get as much snow as everybody thinks they do. I think because it's so cold there, the snow just doesn't melt like it does here, I've heard. So, yeah. So when they get snow, it stays around longer. All right. Well, it's great to have you guys here. And like I said, take a look at the lecture schedule. We'll take a look at that in a second here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to spring, that's for sure. Oh, geez. 45 would be so warm compared to 7 here. I'm ready for summer. Yep. All right, so this week we are going to learn, I know, it's so hard, especially when you get older. We're going to learn how mood boards are created and the role mood boards play in the early stages of the design process. Okay, yeah, mood boards are so much fun. Have you guys ever, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Pinterest, right? That's kind of like a virtual digital mood board in a way. Yep. So if you're ever looking to redo, say, a room in your house, maybe looking for birthday party ideas, you're pinning these images or ideas, recipes to a board. So it's kind of like a mood board. Mm-hmm. It's just more digital, and you get inspiration by that. Things that you see, you want to do, or try to emulate, or inspired by. Yeah. So that's kind of like a virtual digital mood board in a way. So we're going to be kind of doing that here. Yeah, an aesthetic thing. You got it. And there's a reason for that. It's part of our design process. Have you ever heard of a design process? Give me 1 second here, guys. All right, sorry guys. I just got a new puppy and he was doing a little bit of business on the floor in front of me. Sorry about that. It's crazy. Okay, so the design, design process is DES145. So the design process is something that you guys should be like, this should be something that you do every single time you do a project, whether it be a logo, a package design, an ad layout, whatever. You guys should be going through your process steps. And we're going to be kind of talking about it a little bit in detail today. So part of that process is a mood board. And you may not do that all the time, but it is part of the process, and it kind of helps generate more effective and meaningful concepts. Because, you know, I think as designers, some people think that we come up with these creative concepts all the time. Well, it's just not the case. We're human, right? So we get, you know, we get blocks. We get times when we're like, I have no idea what concept to think of or what to do. You know, we're human. So the design process will help us through that, where it will help us dig a little bit deeper into what needs to be done. It'll help us research more about the client and target audience and about the brand itself and competitors. So it'll help you align your ideas, come up with more meaningful and effective solutions. Part of that is the mood board. So that's kind of a part of the process here. Yep, exactly. Yep. Philosophy and psychology is a huge part of what we do as designers. You know, there's a lot of thinking that it goes into it. So you can go straight to the computer without any design process and design a beautiful aesthetically looking logo or whatever you're doing, but it probably won't work. And that's because you're not putting forth the effort of getting to know what that brand is, who the target audience is. So there's probably something that's going to fail in regards to that. So, yep. We are problem solvers, visual communicators. Exactly. Yep, exactly. Good. Yeah, so, you know, we're going to go through the process. We're going to talk about that as we go forward here, and let me get started. Obstacles and challenges are on the agenda today. Just talking about, you know, pros and cons of being an online student, what the challenges are. The roadmap to success, we talked about a few things. You know, communication, keeping communication lines open is key. We're going to look at effective package design. You know, it's not just aesthetically pleasing. There's function to it as well, purpose as regards to that. And then again, we're going to talk about the design process and packaging. So a lot of kind of cool things to get through today. All right, so just kind of what I mentioned before, you guys are all privy to what it is to succeed, hopefully, as being an online student here. I mean, you know, hopefully at this point, what the deadlines are, what you need to do as far as communicate to me if you're struggling, if you need more resources. Yeah, there you go. You know, so just kind of make sure that you're following the deadlines. Listening to the live lectures are kind of like the meat potatoes behind what we do. I go through, this is kind of how I work, and some of you guys know me, have me before, so you kind of know what I do. The first lecture, I like to go over the discussion and then the assignment. And then the second lecture of the week, I like to go over the assessment. There you go. Yep, OCD, you got it. So I think we have a quiz for the assessment for the most part for the first, I think, week 1, 2, and 4. So we will kind of review other things in regards to that as well. But I will be doing a demo for the projects that we do to kind of help you guys start and know how to approach a project. A couple of things I just want to show you real quick. Let me open up Canvas. You guys all know about the daily checkpoints, hopefully. And those are kind of the, you know, extra credit points that you can do every week, every day during the week to gain extra 5 points a day, which really adds up. And, you know, it's really, there's a lot of great information and resources in that too that relate to the course itself. So definitely check that out. Shark resources, academic resources are there as well if you guys need extra help. Live sessions, like I said, check in here. I know you guys, the ones you guys logged in here probably have looked at the live session days and times. Just make sure that you're reading that this is week 1 and 3 and week 2 and 4, okay? Because I have different days for week 1 and 3 versus week 2 and 4. So it's could be a little confusing, same time, just different day. And then I will be posting the recording after it's loaded every week in here. So you can definitely check that out if you missed, or if you need a review, you can definitely check out the recording. Course information, just kind of what the course is all about. Learning objectives, course text, roadmap for success. I like this topical outline because it gives you a nice little synopsis of what we're going to be doing each week, kind of breaks it down. So if you're wondering, you know, hey, what are we going to be going over this week? You know, this week 1, we're going to be doing concepts and strategies, mood boards, color palette, typography, shapes, textures, imagery, creating multi-page PDF documents. And then the rule of sketching in design process, rapid concept development, basic composition or layout, and visual exploration. I know this is a lot of, some of this information. There's also syllabus in here. Check that out if you need to look into detail about this course. Library access is here. Student Success Center. If you're needing extra help, readings and videos. So this is what's important. I would check into this every week. You have required articles and videos that you need to watch. This is also the resources that you'll need for your quizzes. So definitely check that out. The lynda.com playlist, this is more of like a resource, say if you needed to learn more about something. You might not necessarily watch all these. I mean, they're so short, you can. But like, let's just say you're having issues with the presentation of the mood board, you can check that out. So, but the required readings for week 1 are listed down here. So definitely check that out. So you want to be a package designer, the rule of sketching in design process, and all this other information. So that is definitely important to check out every week for additional information. Computer support, if you're having issues. So what is package design? Now we're going to be talking about that. Career preparation. We're going to get into some details so you'll kind of get a basic understanding of what to think about when you're designing package design. So we'll get into that here. All right, just about me here. This is contact information if you need to get a hold of me. I have my iPhone on me all the time, so go ahead and email. That's the best way. Of course, you can call me too, but I do have my phone on me and I respond as soon as possible. And then this is just a little intro about me as well, so you can check that out. What else? So we have course content list. That's just kind of like a nice list of everything that's pretty much in this course you can get to quickly and easily. All right, so let's go back here and continue on our things. All right, before we actually get into the whole talking about package design, I want to start looking at our objectives for this week. Let's get that, kind of covered, and then we'll look at your discussion so you guys can get that started if you need to as soon as possible. So you guys are typing in here. Okay. I'm reading, I'm trying to catch up on here. All right, so week 1, just a couple things to remember. This is what you'll be walking away from this week learning. Discuss 3 ways a package attracts attention and why. Discuss the life cycle of a package design from initial concept to final mockup. Identify and apply an appropriate color scheme for a product. Explore and identify a typeface that best represents a product. Identify and apply 3 solutions to create a viable package layout. And discuss the importance of typography and color in packaging and explain how each helps in building a brand identity. So we're going to be discussing this week. Let's go ahead and discussion 1. Did anybody get started with this yet? Not yet? Okay. All righty. I'm not going to go word for word in the background. You guys read about that. It's just talking about what goes into effective package design, what to kind of think about. I'm going to kind of let you guys read through that. I'm going to go straight to the prompt and I'll read through this. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, good. So for this discussion, you will discuss 3 ways a package draws attention and why. Visit the website lovelypackage.com and find 2 examples that attract your attention. Download, so let's go ahead and click on that website. Okay. So you're going to just take a look at this website and take a look at all these really cool package designs. Tequila, nice little sugar skull there. So there's coffee, packaging, Nutella, all kinds of really cool stuff. Okay, so you're going to look at that, and you're going to find 2 examples that attract your attention. Download 1 image for each product and post with your comments explaining 3 ways the product attracts attention and why. So for your initial post, the following are helpful topics to get your research started. How are colors used to successfully communicate various messages or evoke certain emotions or feelings? If you took color theory, which you probably should have by now, you can talk about all of that, bring that all back up, right? How certain colors evoke certain. How is typography used to express the personality of the brand? Typography is huge in design, so let's talk about that, express the personality. Does the packaging design visually communicate the brand's promise, such as quality, value, performance, safety, or convenience? And then how are symbols, patterns, textures, and other design elements used to differentiate the product from the competition? So hit upon these topics to get you started, and kind of add in your 2 citations to support your perspective. That kind of makes it more substantial whenever you're posting. You don't really want to post every single word from a source. Obviously, I want to see that you're using your own critical thinking skills in your own words. So anytime that you cite a source, so you put a quote in your discussion, don't end it with that. Add in your own words after that citation, kind of sum it up or give your insight in your own words. Yep. Any questions about that? It's pretty to the point. Never used direct quotes? Okay. Just make sure you're hitting upon all the specifics here, specifications. And they don't have an example here, but they have an example for the APA formatted discussion post there. So there's some really cool packaging in here you can talk about. Talk about all the elements in here that make up what it is. Think about design principles and elements. And, as far as color, shape, typography, really, kind of explain what you see here, how it visually communicates to you. Be very detailed. All these elements come into play whenever you're thinking about the target audience too. Okay, very good. I think this is kind of a fun discussion. You can kind of really get into talking about these really interesting package design examples in here. All right, so no other questions. We're good to go, right? You guys are easy. Do you guys need a break, or do you want me to keep talking here? Yep, package design is more than just a logo. Yep. It's the whole package, right? All right, I'm gonna keep going. So when we think about effective package design, we're thinking about more than just it looking good on the shelf. Mock-ups in regards to actual printed out mock-ups, or mock-ups. I think you're going to be doing the flat mock-ups. You can hear my puppy here chewing on his toy here. All right. I might have to put him away here. Give me like a couple minutes here, guys. I'm going to silence the beast. All right, I'll be right back. All right, sorry guys, it's kind of like having two kids, right? All right, let's get started here. Sorry about that. I like one of those things. All right, so let's take a look at effective package design. So we're going to talk about what makes effective package design. Let me get rid of the. All right, so whenever we're, it can be deceptively simple, when we're talking about package design. Many designers wrongfully approach this task when you're doing package design as merely a matter of aesthetics and give no thought to the fact that packaging has to succeed on many variables. So there's a lot of different things that goes into package design. And, it's so easy, like I said, to just go right to it and design something aesthetically pleasing, but it's probably not going to work. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about selling the product. So the fact that a package is created to hold a product is really a secondary goal from the designer's perspective. So from where you are sitting, a package is created to sell a product. And many designers like to approach packaging as their own little canvas of creativity. And their current trend is towards, the most minimalism, less is better. And as much as, we designers would love for that to be true, it simply isn't always the case. So when you think about this, consumers are cautious, okay? And they want to learn about the products they are buying. If the first time they're seeing it on the shelf, it's basically, if it's their first time seeing it on the shelf, the best way to do this is by picking it up and having a look at it. If all you have is the name of the product written in Helvetica on a white background, what are you teaching them? So if the version of the product next to yours at Walmart has a list of features and benefits, shoppers will reach for that one instead. Of course, there are exceptions, but know that the products do and don't fit into this category. Which ones? Every designer wants to create packages that look like, say, for example, Apple products. Very beautiful, simple boxes with hardly anything on them but a photo of the product. But Apple can sell products like that for a reason. They're basically a design-focused target market, an informed customer who knows what the product is already. And the fact that the Apple Store doesn't let you choose iPads from the shelf, but rather allows you to play with the actual product and decide on a purchase before even, getting a glimpse of the package. So for example, can you sell for, if you're thinking about the opposite, can you sell a new vitamin enhanced sports drink the same way? Probably not, right? So package designers in the real world have to deal with complications. The consumer needs to know what the product is, how to make it work, and why they should buy it. They'd love for them to be fooled by a nice font, but you have to give them more credit than that. So think about the overall selling of the product. Know your target audience, and this is all that's part of your design process, is knowing the target audience. And I know you guys don't get the full breakdown because you're given these fictitious companies, but it doesn't mean that you can't look up other similar brands and kind of come up with your own synopsis of what their target audience would be. So, the study of your target audience is one of the most critical aspects of any product launch or redesign. And it's, if you don't know who you're talking to, you can communicate more effectively if you know who you are talking to. If you don't know who you're talking to, you can make some really big visual, design mistakes. You really want to know who your target audience is. This is going to be primarily the people that are going to be buying the actual product or service. So when the actual target audience is forgotten, that's whenever there's mistakes that can happen. So, obviously you're picking the wrong typeface, the package looks too affluent, maybe for more medium, lower income bracket. So you're kind of hitting the, you're not hitting upon the actual real target audience. You know, let the product inspire you. One trick that is almost always a good idea to draw design inspiration from the product itself. This can take the form of color, shape, size, materials, photography, etc. So whatever you can do to make the packaging consistent in some way with what's inside of it. So for instance, one of the package designs that you guys can choose from is a wine box. So be inspired by what the label would look like. Yep, exactly. So no Y as well, like you're using a certain color font. Yep, exactly. All right, so make it practical too. While taking inspiration on the shape of a product, don't let your imagination run too wild. There are a few variables concerning practicality that you must consider. One of these is shipping. So there's so many different variables that go into this. Is the shape of your design such that the products can fit closely together in a crate? Or is your idea going to make the product more expensive to ship? So, you know, think about IKEA. IKEA is always kind of thinking about how their boxes and shapes of their products whenever they're thinking about how it's going to ship. So they're kind of keeping that in mind. The second variable is practicality from a consumer standpoint. Is the package unwieldy and awkward to them? Will it stack nicely in their pantry? Did you ever have like a package where it was like, I don't even know where to put this. I can't even fit it in my cabinet. Say it's like a kitchen, a kitchen package, you know, whatever. I actually have a Cheerios box that's so huge, I can't fit it in my pantry. So it ends up somewhere else. So thinking about that. Leverage a good brand. So final piece of advice really is for creating effective package is to find ways to really feature the brand identity of the product for which you're designing. So this obviously works best for those rare designers who are working with really big brands that are instantly recognizable by a huge audience, say for instance like Starbucks. So in these cases, you might think that it's a given to feature the brand heavily, but many companies actually hide it with busy, confusing, or even overly generic designs. So for example, Tropicana and Pepsi are excellent examples if you're, want to look at some of their package design. So that's something to think about as well. For smaller brands, the same concept can apply to these brands that aren't instantly recognizable, as far as being more universal, just in different ways. So for example, the personality of the brand comes from how the overall label is. And so when you're looking at the actual label, there's a personality to it. And it's coming through with the typography, with the imagery. So you're thinking about what that brand is, and you're conveying it through these elements. So remember, when you're trying to design certain package concepts, that your goals are to sell the product. So you have to know your target audience, let the product inspire you, keep practicality in mind, and always leverage a strong brand. So these are some of the tips that would be very, very useful into thinking just aesthetically. There's more that goes into it. Simplicity is key. Yep. Colors. So we're going to get into this with your mood board. How are colors used to successfully communicate various messages or evoke certain emotions or feelings? Now, you guys, we all talked about color theory. I'm going to share this website here that I found that I thought was kind of interesting. And this article talks about how does your package color mean to consumers? What does your package color mean to consumers? And I'll share this with you guys on announcements too. I'll give you guys the link to this. But what's neat about this is it actually shows the package in that color primarily. And then it talks about what this color means to your brand identity on the shelf. So for instance, If you're doing all black or mostly black, this represents authority and luxury, typically. And then it talks about a little bit more in detail. So using black as the main color in your packaging excludes a top tier product identity. It also represents elegance. Globally, black exemplifies a wide range of emotions from trust to evil and also mourning. Selecting different color packaging for different locations may be worth considering when selling globally. Align color selections with your product and its intended retail geography. So if it's almost just like, you know it's not going to be a global brand, then this is something that you might not have to worry about, but make sure that you're privy to it. Here's white, represents cleanliness, purity, and simplicity. So a lot of this is what you guys have learned in your past color theory classes. Passion and boldness. Orange is fun and low cost. Think about Home Depot, all those cost efficient places that use that color. Green represents growth and nature. Yep, a lot of face cleaners. Yep. Yellow represents optimism and hope. Yep. Purple represents imagination and success. Blue represents trust and reliability. A lot of banks use that color, for instance, for their package, say like their stationery or even logo. So this is kind of interesting. It just kind of overviews of what to think about when you're thinking, what to kind of keep in mind when you're thinking about what your package color means to consumers, because it is super important. And sometimes you're choosing the color that's opposite of your competitors. So it could just be differentiation as far as keeping it different on the shelf. If you know your competitors, say if you know that your product is being shown with 5 other competitors on the shelf, maybe you're choosing a color that's opposite to get it to pop out. Okay, good. It seems like a lot of you guys are good with colors. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, we understand color. And then all of a sudden we do something and we're like, no, like, that's not going to work. Color harmony isn't working. So really think about that going forward, how powerful. And that's one of the most powerful design elements, if you think about it, in design, because it's not a word. It's not a shape. You're actually showing emotion through a color. And that's very powerful. You can really use that to your advantage, but can also screw you up too if you use it and it's not appropriately used. So just kind of be mindful of that. Okay. And that's okay, Heather. Sometimes we use colors that, maybe look good in harmony that, so there are other reasons why you would choose different colors. Do any of the packages we are going to design have big info? Is that what you meant? BG info. I don't know what that means. Background. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, with kind of, yeah, true. Yeah, we'll go through that in a second here. Definitely have some background information. Some of the target audience isn't totally broken down, so you kind of have to do your own type of synopsis with that. Okay, typography is used to express the personality. How is it used to express? There's so many interesting ways to use typography. So so why use typography when a picture can speak 1,000 words? So basically, it's not really entirely applicable when it comes to package design. You really need a balance in design. So you need that, equilibrium by using visual elements along with written material. And together, the two define and redefine your product as far as the package design goes. So in graphic design, where your branding, say stationery and marketing material has to reach people around the world with the correct meaning attached, you need words. And package design is the same way. So these need to be beautified using the art and science of typography. There is a quote that I can read here, written, it's from In Getting It Right with Type, the do's and don'ts of typography. It is written that typography is first and foremost about the communication of information. So it is a versatile design element because not only does it help in conveying a message, but also makes words attractive. So think about this. You know, you're thinking about the right typography. Yeah, I think you can probably take a class for like 2 years just about typography. There's so much to learn about it. And, you know, if you just get it right with the design of it, it could be very powerful. So the correct typeface, we're going to talk about the hierarchy of information on packaging. So in package design, typography helps in segregating information, creating emphasis, and defining visual structure of information. So, you know, when you're talking about this on a page, you know, I just taught publication design, very important, a grid structure, so that you would have a lot of information organized and easy to follow. Same is true for package design. You may have a lot of information about the product and you need to organize it in a way that's pleasing and, you know, works well with the overall design. So make sure the hierarchy of the information is working. If you have emphasis on every single word, it's going to be really hard to know where to look first, second, and third. So as designers, it's our responsibility to direct the eye around the package in an easy way. So you have to have a beginning and an end. Another thing to think about is the correct typeface for typography. We just kind of touched upon this before. So typography is incomplete without a suitable font, which helps a package designer convey intended meanings and emotions and acquire favorable actions. This said, you must have by now noticed that typography isn't only the fancy stuff you see on Pinterest, it's also about how the text is placed at the back, down, or side of packaging where paragraphs of information is written. So, you know, you want to make sure you have a suitable typeface, not only for, you know, certain parts of your package design, but also readability of it. There's also typography trends in packaging that you can definitely take a look at. I would really kind of, you know, just do a search for package design and take a look at that for inspiration, which we will be doing. There's other design elements too. So there are symbols, patterns, textures, and other design elements used to differentiate the product from the competition. So it's not just about typeface, color. There's symbols, patterns, textures, all that good stuff that kind of goes into play as well that really allow it to be more effective, possibly more attractive, and all that good stuff here. Hold on one second. So think about that. How can you use patterns to kind of convey, you know, kind of have a nice overall package design that will make it more dynamic. There's also brand promise to think about. How can the packaging design visually communicate the brand's promise, such as quality, value, performance, safety, or convenience? And I wanted to show you this real quick here. Let me open this up. This is like an infographic that I found that I thought was very interesting. It talks about, oh, this is a typography and I thought this was a brand promise. Sorry, I should have showed you this the last slide. I'll post this to announcements too. So this talks about, kind of rewinding here, talks about typography, suitable typeface, hierarchy that we kind of spoke about before. So you can see here how they actually show examples about hierarchy at the very bottom, suitable typeface on the top left in the purple. In the red, talks about typography concerns, so alignment, scale of typography. And then on the very top in the yellow is trends, and we just talked about that too. So I'll post this to announcements so you guys can take a look at that. Let's go back to the brand promise. Sorry, I kind of jumped forward there. I wanted to show you that infographic. But we're talking about the brand promise. When you're talking about a brand, so a strong, effective brand evokes emotion, inspiring people to feel connected to your business. And a brand promise will help you solidify your brand and the relationship you have with your customers. So thinking about this, there's a little quote here that I got from the American Marketing Association, defines a brand as, so if they're thinking about the brand as a name, term, design, symbol, or any other feature that identifies one seller's good or service as distinct from those of other sellers. The legal term for brand is trademark. A brand may identify one item, a family of items, or all items of that seller. If used for the firm as a whole, the preferred term is trade name. Brand is the image people have of your company or product. It's who people think you are. So think about that. So a brand is not what you say it is, it's what people think or say it is. And no amount of advertising, marketing, or public relations can change that. Yep, exactly. Yep. So what is a brand promise and why is it important? So in order to create a brand that stands for something, an organization needs a clearly distilled statement of purpose to relate to its community, both internally and externally. So in other words, think about this. Let's take a look at some examples. So, you know, Nike, what's their tagline? What do they use as their tagline? Just do it, yeah. So the Nike brand promise goes way beyond its famous tagline, just do it. Their brand promise is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. The asterisk in the brand promise says that if you have a body, you're an athlete. How about Starbucks? It positions itself as a company that brings more to the world than just a great cup of coffee. It sees itself as a lifestyle brand, and the promise it makes to consumers backs that up. So here's their promise: to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And what about Coca-Cola? They're huge. Theirs is to refresh the world, to inspire moments of optimism and uplift, to create value and make a difference. So while Nike and Starbucks brand promises imply the product they create, Coca-Cola's doesn't mention a product or service at all. It aims for a mindset. Yeah. So it's more of a mindset. So a brand promise is a value or experience a company's customers can expect to receive every single time they interact with that company. The more a company can deliver on that promise, the stronger the brand value in the mind of consumers and employees. All right, so thinking about that, you know, that's important too. All these things kind of go together. All right, so as we talked about before, does anybody have any questions so far? I know I've been kind of talking for a while now. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so the design process is just like any design process. You know, this goes for anything that you do, not just package design. So let's take a look at the design process, and everybody's process is different. So number one is identify the need. I think somebody in here talked about, you know, we're problem solvers. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. Number one, what is the problem? The initial stage defines why a design project is needed and what the goals are. What's the problem we're trying to solve here, right? So we're going to take a look at that in a second as we go through the project here. The second step is research. So research aims, so once we kind of get the problem, what we're trying to solve, and that could be a client coming to you with the problem. Number two step in your process steps is research aims to acquire a greater understanding of the overall design problem. This is where you can actually immerse yourself into the brand. Say if it's something that you can actually say it's a store that you're designing for and it's close by, it's local, go into that store, immerse yourself into it. Maybe it's a product that you're trying to sell. Buy the product or use the product. Try to gain as much information as you can. If you can't, talk to the client, get as much information that you can, past, present, future, about the actual product or service, the brand itself. Who are the competitors? You know, talk about that. Who's the target audience? All this is conducted within the research. Number 3 step is ideas and concepts. Now, this is not a linear path either. We don't go 1, 2, 3, and then we're done. You know what I mean? We could go back to number 1 if we're at stage 3 and we're not getting where we need to go. So it's not a linear process. It's very back and forth if you need it to be. So ideas and concepts, because the focus is on idea generation, this phase encourages the exploration of all ideas. So what are some brainstorming techniques that you guys do in your process steps? And everybody's different. Everybody does it differently. Sketches, good. Does anybody do mind maps or word lists, adjective lists? Yep, looking for on the net. Yep, for inspiration. Good. Notes. What about collaborating with other people? And it doesn't have to be a designer. It could be somebody that you live with. I'm sure you guys do that all the time, bringing in your family members or, yeah, fellow classmates. Okay. Well, there you go. Let's just start research. What about when you go, and this is kind of like what I do. It's part of my design process sometimes. You go out, take a walk, take a break from everything, take a walk, start thinking about stuff. That could be part of a process. You come back with all these different ideas. Sometimes you go take a shower. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a great idea that it just popped in your head. That's why it's always good to keep like a pen and paper by your bed, right? There you go. So collaboration is great. So everybody does it differently. Everybody brainstorms differently. Now there's also things to try out, like word lists, mind maps. Try it if you haven't, but everybody does it differently. But this is ways that you can come up with some really cool ideas, jot them down, word lists when you think of the brand or the problem that you're trying to solve. Write down adjectives that come into your mind about that brand. These adjectives can, and this is what I do typically, is a word list right away. These words can act so, they can bring up some ideas of what typography that you're going to use, what the mood's going to be, the theme, that they can be very influential on a lot of what design decisions that you're making. So these adjectives, this adjective list could be perfect to get you started. There you go. So this is kind of what allows you to find more ideas that maybe you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So this is kind of a fun step there. Then step 4 is design implementation. So this phase of the design process will be used to generate and produce various possible solutions to the design problem. So you're designing at this point. So you're going from researching, brainstorming, collecting, what the problem is, and you're actually designing now. So you're maybe making design roughs, kind of creating what you've kind of all gathered in your information, creating something that you think would work. Now, typically this can be a long step in the process because, typically designers come up with a whole bunch of ideas and then you narrow it down to show the client. I always like to say you don't want to show more than 3 concepts to a client because they get kind of confused and then they want to change and add stuff and revise it and, smush it into another concept. So 3 ideas is always best, but getting to this point might be a little bit longer of a process. Yeah. And then once you're kind of done with that process and say the client picks out what they want or, you go with a concept, you analyze feedback. Typically it would be launched and printed or launched in regards to maybe a web project. Then you would analyze the feedback. So analyzing client feedback provides a valuable learning tool for you to gauge your performance. What if something happened during that process that you didn't expect? Maybe the final outcome wasn't what you expected, or maybe the client didn't expect. And so you want to look back and learn upon that. Maybe it worked out great and there was like more ideas that you thought along the process that you could add to it. So the feedback is super important, just like it is in your feedback after the 4 weeks of this class is over. Kind of looking back, reflecting upon what works, what doesn't work, what you need to work on, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, all very important into growing and changing and evolving as a designer. And this all kind of changes the quality of your work too. Then production. It is now time to finalize your design, making sure all the design elements, color palette, and typography have been resolved to thoroughly represent your solution to the design problem before it's approved for printing. And sometimes this is the production phase can be the mock-up phase before you actually, a mock-up is typically something that you do. It's not the final project or piece, but it's something that you print out and mock up to make it look like it before going to final production so that you're not wasting a lot of money if there is an error or something that needs to be changed. Okay. Sorry, I was reading the chat there. But yeah, so production is typically that part of the process where you're kind of getting the final approval there. Prototyping, again, mock-ups are not the final product that you're selling to a client. They're only a visual tool. This kind of goes with the production part of it too. So that's all kind of the steps. That's all kind of the steps there in the process. And like I said, it's not linear. Everybody does it differently, but you should be going through these steps. And it sounds like a lot of steps and a lot of work that goes into it. But I'm telling you guys, if you're in a rhythm of always doing these process steps, you'll get to a point where you don't actually have to do the process steps. You're kind of doing them maybe in your head or very quickly, but you're going through these steps. Yeah, feedback is very important throughout the whole process. And you guys, feedback is super important because you guys are not math students. You know, we're not saying, 2 + 2 = 4. With design, there's that gray area, right? So it's a little challenging when I'm evaluating work. Of course, there's definitely things that I'm looking at on the rubrics and being objective in regards to the design principles and the elements, but there's a process that you guys go through. So that's why, that gray area, I want to see that you're evolving your work, taking that feedback, applying it, and really learning as you go forward. Oh, I don't want to go there. I'm not a math, I'm more right-brained. Yeah, critiques are crucial. Yes. Yep. So we're a little different. I always, how do you actually evaluate design? Well, there is a way, but there's that process that people aren't aware of that we go through, right? That process is super important. All right, so I'm going to go back to our, let's take a look at your assignment now that we got all that out of the way, right? Lots to talk about here. And we'll be talking a little bit more about the purpose of package design and all that good stuff too. So we'll get into more of those details. Let's take a look at your assignment. Did anybody read through this or get started yet? Okay. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this. I love mood boards. You can see the example here is kind of like a mood board. And I'm going to give you an option too. I think it's kind of a neat option I'll have for you guys to use if you would like. Go ahead and read through the background. Talks about what mood boards are, purpose of them. I'm going to zoom in here so I can make it bigger. All right, so for this assignment, you're going to create a mood board that defines the overall look and feel of your product. Be sure to identify an appropriate color scheme and explore a typeface that best represents the product. You will also sketch 3 ideas that explore and capture the basic composition of your package design before moving to the computer. It's important to sketch a variety of different designs so you can choose the best option. The sketches will establish elements of composition and show a preview of what to aim for and will potentially save you from an enormous amount of time. Okay, so you're going to look through 3 of these clients. So choose only one of the 3 product package options below. We'll take a look at these. So Chateau Vineyards, tucked in the heart of Rhone Valley. Chateau Vineyards is a small family-owned winery crafting premium wines. And this is the information you would download to look at this further. We'll take a look at these in detail in a second here. Then you have Wild Bill's Gourmet Hot Sauce, spicy, sweet, and highly addictive. Wild Bill's Gourmet Hot Sauce was recently named the best tasting hot sauce on the market, ahead of competitors such as Cholula Hot Sauce and Tabasco. Wow. And then there's their information there. Yummy. Cool Breeze Perfume or Cologne, a New York-based startup fragrance company, just released a fragrance called Cool Breeze that targets high-income executives. You can choose either their perfume for targeting women or cologne to target men. And here's the information you can download for that. All these are zipped folders, and you can download all of them to take a look at all of them if you want. The logo, little asterisk here, the logo you download is an Illustrator file and is in black and white. You will be choosing a color scheme in this assignment, and we'll be using one or more of those colors in the logo in week 2 when you do your next step in the package design process. So you're going to create one mood board. Page size is 11 inches by 14 inches, portrait or landscape. Required design elements are color palette, typography, shapes, texture, and imagery. Use Microsoft Word. Submit a minimum 50-word document explaining your design choices for your mood board. Why did you choose this color scheme? Is the typeface appropriate for your product? Does imagery contribute to the storytelling process and communicate the brand's image? Do all design decisions capture the mood and define the overall look and feel of the brand? You're going to save as a PDF format. Create a multi-page document that has both the mood board and the 50-word write-up, with the write-up first and the mood board second. So it doesn't look like you're going to be doing kind of actually adding in any of your sketch work here, but definitely do that. I don't know why it does not include that. Kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at each of these specific brands here. You don't have to, but I would definitely, oh, this is opening up. Okay. I would definitely do the sketches. You don't have to include that in your submission. Here's the Chateau Vineyards logo. So I just opened this up in Illustrator. As you can see, it's a vector line art file that you can easily apply color to, which is black and white. And then the Word file. Each one of them has a logo and a Word file is right here. So talks a little bit more about the company. Okay, no problem. All right, so Chateau Vineyards, it's a wine box, which you'll be doing. So if you're doing this brand, you'll be doing a wine box. Wine type is mandatory. So example, you'll choose a wine type, Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Merlot, Pinot Noir, etc. Here's an example. So if you want to go to this website here of types of wine, let's go ahead and share this here. If you want to, maybe you're not privy to what types of wines that these are, it talks about like what Chardonnay is, so you kind of get a good idea of what each category of wine is, what grapes are used, all that good stuff. So if you kind of want to educate yourself a little bit more, it's a good way to do it. Yep. Brand name, wine producer, so that's mandatory. You need to have the logo. Vintage year, mandatory, designates the year grapes were harvested, example 2012. Estate bottled. Name and address of bottler, mandatory. And it's right here. Vineyard designation, or like where the actual vineyard is, percentage of alcohol. You know, take a look at your wine bottle if you have a wine bottle at home, or if you go to the store. These are all on the bottle, on the label, or on the wine box in a different section. You have the government warning. Now again, these are all in hierarchical order, so this should be smaller on the box. The barcode as well. There's a barcode generator if you need to do that. Tucked in, and then this talks about additional information. This is important. There you go, me too. Get a bottle today. Tucked in the heart of Rhone Valley Chateau Vineyards is a small family-owned winery crafting premium wines. The Graham family has been making wine for 3 generations. The family lives on in shades of red. I don't know what that, I'm not sure what that means. Lives on in shades of red, white, and rosé. Savior Chateau Vineyards' rich history is in every sip. So it doesn't quite say who the target audience is, but you kind of definitely bring up, you know, some clues there. Me. That's funny. But go ahead and take a look at maybe other similar wines out there. You can definitely do. I did like a Pinterest search for wine bottle packaging and kind of came up with some really cool stuff in here. So I just went to Pinterest, typed in wine bottle package design. Yeah, me too. I'm more of a red wine person. But there's some really interesting, like that one's obviously weird, some interesting packaged boxes here. This is kind of a neat one here. Just to kind of be inspired by. It's Italian in you. But there's some really cool things you can kind of be inspired by and see, like the color schemes, textures, patterns. This is one of them I thought was kind of cool. So many really interesting package designs here. But look at the typography, look at the color, look at how, you know, what the overall essence of it looks like. And, you know, not all of them are the same, obviously. So you want to be inspired by what you see, and say if you like a typeface on one of the boxes, say if this is kind of interesting, pull this off, pull it into your folder or pin it so you can add it to your folder. And then obviously you can also use this in your mood board. Any sort of box. Well, it would be a box for your wine. And I believe you're going to get your specs on that in week 2. Okay. Any questions about the wine option there? Pretty straightforward, I think, right? Okay. The next one is Wild Bill's Gourmet Hot Sauce. Let's take a look at Wild Bill here. Okay. So Wild Bill, oh, there's 2. Oh, there's a nutrition label in there added to the mix. Let's take a look at Wild Bill. It's kind of a cute little logo there. You guys will be interested in seeing here. Wild Bill. Turn a little. The hot sauce. It's cute, huh? So, you know, looking at that kind of gives you an idea of maybe what the brand's all about too. You know, those are all clues to how you can represent this brand in the actual package design itself. Okay, let me open up the Word file here. It looks like there's a nutrition facts as well. Am I opening this up in Word or what? Here we go. Oh, here we go. So this is a gourmet hot sauce. So the flavor, you have to take obviously, take a certain flavor that you want to use for yours. Oh, cool. There are obviously the download nutritional facts included. Ingredients also are added here. All the other good stuff. So additional information, spicy is good, but it's not enough. With its carefully collaborated blend of sweet and spicy sun-ripened peppers, Wild Bill's delicious savory flavor is taken to the next level. It's delicious heat that enhances without overpowering. The savory heat that adds a kick without knocking out the other flavors. There's spicy, and then there's Wild Bill's gourmet hot sauce. The sweet, tangy sweet taste and kick of Wild Bill's gourmet hot sauce is the ultimate topper for spicing up a variety of meats, vegetables, and eggs. So this is going to be a box for Wild Bill's. Any questions about that? Okay. I don't have any student past examples. I don't believe. I can try and dig around, but I don't think I have them. Okay, this is the other one, the Cool Breeze. Yeah, it's okay. No problem. This is the perfume or cologne. No problem. And then let's open up the Word file for that. Now remember, this one's more affluent, for more affluent target audience here. So you really want to make sure it's aligning to that, those brand specifications. Okay, so the product name is obviously mandatory, but you have to choose either perfume or cologne. Now that'll be totally different if you choose more of a woman's perfume versus a man's perfume or cologne. It's going to be definitely different looking. So pick one. Have a barcode, your net weight, ingredients included, manufacturer, and then the additional information. Cool Breeze is a sexy blend of scents guaranteed to bring out the cool side in all of us. Based around a spicy, wild, and primitive scent meant to make the wearer feel capable of conquering the world, this product contains highly concentrated fragrances chosen from the best sources around the world. Please spray responsibly. And it kind of gives you a little bit more of factual information there. So this is a fragrance box. Kind of exciting here. Don't forget the second part of this, which is your 50 word document. You're going to be, obviously adding to that. Anybody have any questions so far? Now, it doesn't say what program you should do this in, so it's up to you guys if you want to do it in Illustrator, InDesign, or Photoshop. I'm probably going to just start it out in Illustrator, 11 by 14 inches. Now, it's up to you if you want to do more horizontal or vertical. And yeah, so I mean, you could do it in InDesign. That would definitely be good too. Maybe I'll do that in InDesign. I just don't have that open. I think that's why I didn't do it in InDesign, because I had that. That's the only program I don't have open. But it is great for alignment and image placement. Now, mood boards. I just want to show you real quickly here. See if I can find some inspiration for you guys. Now, there's templates out there, obviously, that you can get for free, but you want to make sure the specs are for, what we're doing. But I just Googled mood board templates just to see, and I wanted to show you this. It's almost like a wireframe, if you were to design a grid structure or, you know, for a website or, you know, for a layout, for instance. I wanted to show you some examples of how you can, you know, obviously this is more square, but it would be similar to this, where you're showing imagery that textures, color, patterns, color, typography that kind of is showing the mood that you're trying to get. So this is an example there. Okay, so if I open up, let me open up InDesign here. Let me change all my specs because I just taught how to do interactive stuff. So all of my buttons are different here. Reset all of my panels. Okay, let me go to InDesign. And what I did was just did a file new document. And I changed it to inches. And I did 14 by 11, but you can do 11 by 14. It's completely up to you on the orientation that you want to do. All right. Can you guys see? Am I sharing the right? Make sure I'm sharing the right thing here. Okay, thanks. Now, in InDesign, you can pull up rulers, which show vertical and horizontal rulers on your page if you're showing it. And you can pull down these rule lines that help you kind of decide on the grid structure that you want to go with. So, you know, that's one way you can do it. So you can kind of partition this off in a way that you know, obviously makes sense for the information that you're getting. Kind of play around with that. And I'm just kind of making up some type of grid structure here for me. I love grids, right? I think it's kind of the OCD part. Okay, so kind of just adjusting some things here. You can actually move these individually too if they're not locked. Just selecting them and just moving them up. Okay, so let's say that this is the grid that I want to go with. Let's go ahead and save this, DES244, assignment 1, my name, first and last. Yep, you got it. You got it, girlfriend. She knows. She's saying it's the modular grid structure. Good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a client, right? I want to see. I kind of like the Vineyards one. I don't know about you guys. That's just me. I'm a wine person, so I'm going to go with maybe the wine just for this this actual demo. And I'm going to take a look at some, let's see, Pinterest maybe, or just Google image search, some really cool typography that I run into. YouTube, yeah. Hot sauce could be fun. You know, maybe you pick something that you don't think you would do the best at. It could be like a design challenge. Oops. What am I doing? Let's type in here, line label typography. Oh no. I'm glad I'm not allergic to that. Are you allergic to chocolate too? Because that would be terrible. Oh, okay. All right, so I came across, this is kind of really interesting. Oh, okay, the dye in it. The typeface and the color and how this all kind of looks. I'm going to drag this over on my desktop. I kind of like that one, so I'm going to drag that over. I like the look of this as well. And drag that over. Now you can pin this or drag it over. If you pin it, you're gonna, if you want to use it for your mood board, you're gonna have to drag it over into a folder so you can add it in there. But I'm just looking up wine label typography. If you're looking up the hot sauce, you can look up hot sauce labels. If you're looking up perfume, you can look up perfume labels. This is kind of interesting. And it doesn't have to be wine bottle related either. You know, you could just look up certain textures and colors. But I would definitely look at, you know, wine boxes or wine labels, wine, win-win. You might even just type in package design just to kind of get a good idea of what the actual product would look like. I like this one too. I'm going to pull this one off. You can look up certain patterns and textures. Like, so let's say birch tree texture. I kind of like that. And I thought would be kind of cool. So maybe that would be a texture I would look into. Just kind of putting it out there. That's kind of cool too. You know, the adjective list will definitely help with this too. Am I doing this right? I'll be dragging this over right. Download image, there we go. I'm a pain in the butt. I thought I could just drag it and drop it on my desktop, but I guess I can't. Let's see what color themes for wine maybe come up. And that's kind of interesting too. Yeah, so this is really going to be based upon your research. I'm just kind of quickly pulling all of this. Here's something really interesting. You like those colors too? It's showing the grapes, the colors pulled from that. And you can pull from the images that you're inspired by. So like, for instance, wine label logos could be another keyword search that you can look up. You know, something as simple as that, you know. And the colors you can pull from that. And even if they're not your thing, it could be the thing for your, you know, think about it objectively and not subjectively. If it works for the project, then it works for it. It might not be something that you would typically design with, but it could work. So you can pull, say, for colors from labels like this. You can pull from textures that you find. And just for sake of pulling some more ideas off of here, what else do we have to do that's included in that? Shapes, typography, color palette. So I'm just going to look up, and you can look this up in different ways too. I'm going to just look up just setting the mood for the wine. And again, you could pull colors from these images too. Let's see what this looks like. I'm just looking up general wine photographs here. Very sexy looking here as a wine photograph. So if you want to set the mood, if you kind of are setting the mood for this particular project, you know, maybe you're getting a certain image that you want to portray the brand as being. It doesn't necessarily have to be an image that you're going to use in your piece, but it's something that you would like your brand to portray. You can definitely use that in your mood board. I'm just going to pull this one off. Okay, so, and then also, you don't have to use Pinterest. You can just do a Google image search, wine labels, or hot sauce labels. There's some really cool things that you can see here too. That could spark some inspiration. Yeah, that's up to you if you want to do both and then kind of hone in on which one you like the best that you want to go forward with, that's fine. I like the look of this. I like the look of the tree, twigs. You know, I'm kind of getting inspired by that. So I don't know, maybe looking up more of that design. You know, where you have more of the almost like winter twigs without leaves on it type look. Or vines, yeah. Here, that's true. That is true. Ooh, I like this picture. It's like these are all patterns. I mean, you could even go on pixabay.com and get high-res imagery too, or textures. Yep. Mm-hmm. Texture. So, you know, once you start getting inspired by a certain look and feel, you can kind of dig in a little bit deeper and get some other good textures. Winter tree texture. It's all kind of the way you word it, kind of what comes up to you. But this is another way that you can gather some great imagery for your mood board that can push you forward with color and the mood of it. I don't know if they'll have wine labels here, but let's take a look just for the sake of looking. Typography, you can even actually go onto typography sites, typing in letters and just see how they look and be inspired by that too. All right, I'm gonna go I have some imagery ready to go here. I'm gonna go back to InDesign. I'm gonna start laying out my mood board. Now, I would suggest if you're doing this in InDesign, first plot out like where you're gonna place everything. And this might change. You know, I might do my colors over here, my images here. It's completely up to you. I'm gonna take the rectangle frame box. I'm gonna place it over one of my grid structures there. And I'm gonna go ahead and place one of my images here. I'm gonna fit it. And I'm not gonna fit it there. I'll just leave it. It's a little smaller than I want it to be. So let me change the see somebody typing in here. I cannot see my, it's a little hard to see my, I can't see my presets up here, guys, sorry. I'm just gonna fill it. Oh, I filled it before because I can't get my presets to show. Okay, and then what I would do is just kind of fill this in based on the images that you have. And you can be up close, you can do completely up to you if you want to zoom in on certain aspects of the label. You know, maybe that's best, you can see it. So I'm just kind of placing in each of these squares with the rectangle frame tool based on the grid. All very flexible. I can kind of move things around if I need to. Let's put, I love birch trees, even though I think they're really hard to, my parents had a birch tree in front of our home that I grew up, and I just loved it. But I heard, because I went to go plant some, that they're really hard to take care of. So then it kind of scared me because I kill everything. So I kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe that's not the tree for me. Kind of scared me. Probably shouldn't have, but I also like sycamore trees. I think those are really pretty. One of my favorites. All right, so I'm going to move this around so that it works, so I can see the actual label here. And you might have to do some shifting too based on the size. Dogwoods are pretty, and they keep their nice small size. This is a good one for this one, I think. So you can see I'm kind of implementing my images that I'm inspired by. Then I can pull some color inspiration too. This one was a big one. I have a lot of weird things going on here, but definitely move this up a little bit because I like the bottle label. There we go. It's kind of coming together, don't you think? Looking good. Let's see. Yeah, not bad, huh? I just need some more textures. Let me show you how I would do the color. So I'm going to go over here and just make the color swatches. Now I'm going to drag and drop this. Drag, alt and drag. And make sure it's all the same size. Now I'm going to fix this so that it is all the same size. Okay. I'm just pulling this down to meet up with that. Make sure this goes over top. Oh, here we go again. Where's my assets here? Hold on one second, guys. I need. There we go. Couldn't find that before. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bigger in size in my box here. My presets weren't working because they weren't viewing. Okay, now my box is in the way. Technical difficulties here, hold on. The Zoom box gets in my way sometimes and I can't get to certain controls. All right, there we go. All right, so now I can take each of these boxes, go ahead and take my eyedropper tool if I want to pull in any type of colors that I like from these images. So here I am kind of creating this, kind of being inspired by certain colors in here that I brought in. And it doesn't mean these colors are colors that you're going to use, but you're inspired by. Oh, really? You can hear me pounding on my keys? Sounds like. Like, what is she doing over there? She's pounding on her keyboard. That's funny. All right, I'm gonna put this one here. Did I use this one yet? No. Sorry if I sound like I'm pounding on my keyboard. All right, so it looks like I just have 2 more under here that I need to get. So let me go grab something here. I think maybe label black and white. Oops. Images. Show you guys what I'm doing. I know you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just looking up black and white wine labels that I think are kind of cool. It's kind of neat. Drag that over. Patterns. That's kind of neat too. Pull that over. All right, so I think I got my 2 images. Now, obviously, you're going to take a little bit more time than I did on here. I just kind of quickly threw stuff in here for sake of showing you guys. So, you know, do your research, go through your steps, come up with some type of a theme, and you're setting a mood. So this is the mood that you're setting that you want to, you know, want to emulate. Yeah, came together quite nicely. Now it's completely up to you if you want to. Oh, some of these are in a line. Let me pull this down. If you want to add the borders, so what you would do is just take these lines, do a shift, and add these maybe white or black lines. I'm going to do white. And again, I can't see my presets here. Give me 1 second. Change it down here maybe. There we go. I can't see it on the very top. Maybe my stroke. Let's set it to 2, or let's do thicker. Let's do a 3. And then I can do an alt drag and have that frame everything else. That just kind of gives a nice segregation if you want that. Doesn't mean you have to, but just make sure my stroke is the same when I just resize this here. Yes. Okay, and then I can just alt drag that over here. Just the little details. Might need to zoom in to your work. That looks good. And then alt drag this over for consistency and then just change the width. This might take a little bit more finesse, but let's see here. Drag and drop. Alt drag and drop, alt drag and drop. Kind of a nice way to do it. Pull this way over here. I think I already did that one. I have two there. Drag and drop. So you get the idea here, and then you do the vertical ones straight down. This just gives you a nice visual, oops, pause in between. I'm gonna do a weight of 3. Make sure it's, you know, going over each image. It's not tucked behind. Looks good. So it's kind of, you know, it's not a big change, but at least it kind of gives a nice visual break. And you could do it all the way around too if you wanted to do like the outside. Keep it all very consistent. Okay. Here we go. And then you're going to save this when you're done as a PDF. So we all know how to do that, right? So you can do a smallest file size, that's fine. PDF to your desktop. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, once you're done with your Word file will also be saved as a PDF file as well. And then you're just going to add that. Do you guys know how to combine PDFs for that? Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and open that. You know, just look at your PDF here. I'm going to lose power. I don't have my computer plugged in here. Hold on one second, guys. Let me open that PDF so you can at least see it. It's always good to make sure you're taking a look at it before submitting it. So here is my final PDF. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to plug in my computer here while you guys are typing. So that is a mood board. So it should set your tone of kind of where you're going to go direction-wise, what you think inspires you for the brand that you chose, kind of the things that you're thinking about, the color, the typeface, all that you're thinking about doing for your package, for your actual package. Now you can put packaging in there. You know, I didn't really put too many. I have some, like a wine label and a wine box, but feel free to add that a little bit more to that. I think this is a nice balance though, because it's not all packaging. You can see the wine label and the textures and typography and the colors, shapes. So this is kind of a good balance. You don't want it to be all typography either. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would do no more than, what did I have on there? Let's see, wine labels. I had one wine box, 3, 4 labels, and then I would say, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. I had like 11 images. Yeah, I would just break it up so you have like maybe 3 of each, 2 or 3 of each. Couple texture images, a couple typography images, mood images, couple packaging images. So you have a nice balance of everything. So it's not one-sided, like it's not all the labels or the boxes. It's not all typography. It's not all just photographs. I don't want to just see all textures like this. I want to make sure you're looking at it from every angle as far as typography, color, shapes, texture, maybe being inspired by the actual label or bottle, whatever you're looking at doing that is relative to what you're picking for your brand. Okay. Because I do get a lot of students that do mood boards and they just do one mood board with just all images. And that's okay if you're supplying other pages with typography, like all one page of typography and all one page of color. But if it's just imagery, you know, it's kind of hard to see what direction you're going to go. So I really want to see kind of where you're going in terms of the whole concept as a whole. All right, so we're going to be looking ahead at some things on Wednesday when we meet: the art of the mood board, packaging colors, science of typography. So we have a lot of stuff going forward. You guys have a quiz for assessment 1 as well, so we'll kind of discuss some things there. That's what mood boards are for, exactly. Any questions before we wrap this up? Did I explain it very clearly? You guys have any questions? Anything unclear about? All right. I'm glad you sounds like you guys are excited, and this is a fun class. So I'm glad it's starting off that way with you guys, and that you're feeling it, because it'll definitely show in your work if you're excited about it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. It's great to have you here for the first lecture. Let's get started, and I'll meet you guys on the discussion boards and hopefully on Wednesday. If I don't see you on Wednesday, listen to the recording, and then if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day and stay warm. You're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. All right, see you guys.